Recording now. All right, this is ITS148. Got a little bit of a late start here. This is October 17th, and we are in Chapter 9, and I'm going to do the two assignments, two exercises for Chapter 9. So let me share my screen, and I can close this. So I'm sharing, and I am recording. So let me just open up the Lima. And we are doing these assignments here. Let me just go here first. Working with strings. We're going to, yesterday I covered all of the slides. All the way to the end. And so today I'm going to see how quickly I can do these assignments if I can. And so if we go to assignments, we see the first one here is calculate reservations total. And I gotta make some adjustments. You'll notice I started grading some of your assignments. I would like you to attach a screenshot and attach the file that contains your C# event handlers, and I'd like you to attach a file that contains your designer.cs code, e.g. form1.designer.cs. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. So attach the files. You don't need to put in any inline code. So we can do attachments only. Okay, so this is for today. Attach a screenshot, attach your .cs file, attach your designer.cs file, and so that way I can look at the code. Because when I'm grading and I look at your code copied into the text file, it's too hard to see it. It's scrolling around, and I'm not. So when we're done with this today, I'll show you how to do that. Let's see. So if we look at the assignment, we're talking about making this thing right here. Let's see what he says. Hold on here. I guess this isn't your USB drive. Sorry. So I guess this isn't his. What would have been? But, all right. So we're going to open. So there's already a project that we can start with. And then we just have to add the code to do this. So if we go to, let's go to resources, and let's go to exercises, and let's go to Chapter 9, and there should be this reservations.zip file. And so let's bring that down, put it on our desktop. and unzip it. And let's double click on the .sln file. And we want to do Visual Studio 2019. And I'm going to just start it to see what it looks like. See what's here. And arrival date, departure date, but of course it doesn't do anything, and it does exit. So let's look at, no, it's over here. Double click on form1.cs, and the form comes up. And then I do a right click and view the code. There's the code. I click up here to go back to the form. See this toolbox tab over here? I can click on that and pin it with this pin. And so here we are. So now if I need to add more controls, I can do that, although I don't think I'm going to have to. I think I'm just going to end up adding code. Okay, so if we look at this code, we see some, we've got, what happens when we run this again? Let me try this. Is present. Okay, I'm going to say calculate. Doesn't do anything. I'm going to do today. Calculate. What is this is present? I see it. Calculate does not even do anything. Okay, I'm going to close this. The exit button is there. However, the calculate button was not there. There was nothing in the calculate button. Okay. All right, there's an is present, there's an is date time, and is within range, is valid data. Okay, let's see what the assignment is now. Okay, so add code to get the arrival and departure dates the user enters when the user clicks the calculate button. Okay, so the user is going to have typed in some arrival date and some departure date. And then the user is going to click on this calculate button. And then it's going to populate the calculate button. The event handler for the calculate button will put something into number of nights, total price, and average price per night. Okay, so add code based on the calculate the based on $120 a night, average night. I don't quite get that, but all right. Let's look at the code. I'm going to make this a little smaller. Let's look at this code here. I'm going to click on this, move this over a little bit. I don't need to have the toolbar because I'm not going to do anything over there. Move this over a little bit, move this over a little bit more. This clown here can go over there. All right, so is valid data. First of all, we got to grab out, see, where's the event handler? Okay, let's just start with the event handler. Here we go, event handler. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the data is valid. Now, what does the is valid data do? Well, I'm just going to start with this here. I'm not going to mess with the is valid data yet. Let me just go, there's a date time, a variable called arrival date. I'm going to call it arrival date. And that's going to be equal to the date time dot parse of txt arrival date dot text. Okay, so this is going to look and see what they typed into this arrival date thing. That's like this right here. Arrival, this is txt arrival date. See, it says txt arrival date right here. When I click on here, click on this one, it's going to say txt departure date. Yeah, and this one is going to be where I'm going to write into txt nights, and I'm going to write into txt total price, and I'm going to write into average price. Anyway, so let's go back to the code. And so I've grabbed out the arrival date, and it's a date and a time now. And I better grab out date time, the departure date. Departure date equals date time dot parse txt departure date dot text. And then we want to make sure that the departure date is later than the arrival date. If departure date is greater than the arrival date, then we can do something. Let's do something. Hello, hello, hello. Looks like it's working fine for me. Hello, hello. Works fine for me. All right. Hello, hello. Okay. So if the departure date is greater, no, wait a second. Departure date. Oh yeah, departure date is greater than you arrive someplace and then you depart after that. So let's calculate the number of days between those dates. Okay, let's do that. And so I'm going to say, I'm going to have a time span type variable, reserve days equals departure date minus arrival date. Okay. All right. And this time span property, I wonder how I can, let me just see if I can. C# time span properties. Well, anyway, there is a let's see, days will convert the time span into the number of days, turns out, dot days. So if I want to know the number of days, I can just simply say an integer called days is equal to reserve days dot days. This days property will return an integer days value. So then date time how does this, is there something, there's more to this. Here's where we're getting, okay. I'm busy looking at the final solution to this. Okay, so calculate the number of days between those dates, calculate the total price based on $100.20 per night. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. Okay, so we have that many days, and it's going to be an integer because we're just putting in dates. So it's an integer number of days is fine. We aren't putting in times. So there's not going to be a fraction of a day. And then we say we can create a variable called total price, a decimal variable, total price. And that can be equal to, well, let's initial, well, number of days, that's equal to days times 120. I wonder if that's going to work. That should work, even though these are both integers. And the average, decimal average price equals total price divided by days. It's kind of dumb because it's obviously it's going to be 120 because every day is 120, and so you add up, well, but the reason we're doing this is because later on down here we're going to modify the code so Friday and Saturday nights are charged 150. So then, and Monday through Friday is going to be Sunday through Thursday is going to be 120. So that way, if you stay across the weekend, your average price per night will be different depending on the ratio of how many weekdays and weekend nights you stay. But anyway, let's just see what this is. We need to let's write out the values. TXT total price dot text is going to equal total price dot toString parentheses C for currency, and then TXT average price, average price dot text is equal to average price dot toString parentheses C. All right, I got it right. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let's. I'm just going to see what this does. See what this looks like. So the arrival date is today, tomorrow. I wonder if this is going to work. No, it didn't work. Okay. You know, in PHP that would work. Okay, but not in C#. So let's get more serious here. I'm going to stop this, start it again. And I'm going to say arrival date. Today, let's say today is 10/17/2019, and the departure date is going to be 10/22/2019. Enter, and the total price is $600. Ooh, number of nights. I got to fill in the number of nights. That would be TXT nights equals days, I bet. Oops, of course. TXT. Oh, toString. All right, now let's run this. And the arrival date is 10/17/19. And the departure is 10/21/19. Does this work? Calculate. Yes. 4 days, 4 nights. That's not right, is it? Because we stay the night of the 17th, the night of the 18th, the night of the 19th, the night of the 20th, and then we leave the 21st. Yeah, okay, that is 4 days. That's 4 days. Okay. All right, so that works good. Now what? Okay, at this point, the average price will be the same as the nightly price. All right, that looks pretty good. How about this? Arrival date, February 27th, 2016. March 2nd, 2016. 4 nights, you see. The 27th, the 28th, the 29th, the 1st, and you leave the 2nd. Yeah, it is right. Ah, that's amazing. Knows about leap years. Okay, so now we're going to enhance this thing. Add an event handler for the load event form. What's this going to do now? This event handler should get the current date and 3 days after the current date and assign these dates to the arrival and departure date as default values. Be sure to format the dates as shown above. Okay, sure. Let's do that. The load event handler. So we have this thing called a load event handler. And how do we get to the load event handler? Well, we go to the form and we can double click any place outside not on anything. So we don't want to double click here because we would be adding an event handler for if somebody clicked on this label. We don't want to double click here because it's like we're going to be adding an event handler where if somebody enters something into the text box, we want an event handler for when this form itself loads to begin with. So I'm going to put my mouse over here where there's nothing underneath it except the form, and I'm going to double click, and now I have this place here to enter in the load event handler. So the first thing I want to do is I want to I want to put in a default arrival date and departure date. And you're supposed to make the arrival date today and the departure date 3 days from now. So date time space arrival date, same as before. But this is a variable that's declared inside this method, so it has nothing to do with the variable of the same name that's declared up in another method. This equals date time dot today. All right. Departure date time space departure date equals arrival date dot add days. How many days? 3. Okay, so that'll declare a variable called departure date, and it is a date time variable, which means it'll hold the date. It holds the values that it holds are date time values, and then here we just take this value of add arrival date, and it's got a built-in method because it's a date time class. It's got this built-in method called add days, and you can just add any number of days to that variable, and it's kind of like it's like a function, so it's going to return the arrival date plus 3 days, and that's what we want departure date to be. And then you want to save those two dates into the text departure date text. Okay, so we go text arrival date dot text is equal to, we got to make sure this is formatted correctly, and this looks like it's the to date string. So if we do date time C# date time methods. Okay, it's well, it's like this one here. This is a shirt. I guess we can do it now. Let's see what. Okay, text equals arrival date dot toString, and I guess I can do this. M/D/YYYY. Let's see what this does. Text departure date text equals, the other way I can do it is just departure date dot toString. No, I can do to short date string. That's an easier way. That's another way to do it. So let's see what this does. There we go. See, it's defaulted. It loads up. And the arrival date is 0/17/2019. It looks like, oh, M must be minutes or something. What do I do? How about if I do 2 lowercase m's? Oh no, yeah, okay, see what that does. Ooh, no, that doesn't do it either. How about if I do 1 uppercase m? Okay, there we go. So that works. All right, so now we've done that, and you don't need to, you know, really you only need to do it one of the ways, but I just was experimenting around. Okay, be sure to format the dates as shown above. Yes, okay. Oh, I wanted to test something. What about, see, I don't see, we're in October. What happens if I subtract arrival date? I'm going to do dot subtract days. Subtract. Can I do that? Subtract days? No, oh, that's add days. Add days. Add a minus number of days. Minus 50. Okay, I want to see. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to go back to months that are single digit. Now I want to see how this turns out. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. So it goes back 50 days. Okay, yes, it does work. See, single digit months. Okay, fantastic. So that works. So I don't really need this thing. I was just testing. All right, so that's been initialized properly. Modify the code so Friday and Saturday nights are charged $150, and other nights are only charged $120. One way to do this is use a while loop that checks the day for each date of the reservation. All right, you're right. That is one way to do it. I think I shall do it that way. Let's see, how does this do it? I see. Okay, we're starting at a departure date, and a departure date is a date. So okay, so we're still gonna have that thing in there, and then where do we start adding this stuff up here? Int days. Here's where we. Huh? TV's off. I'm gonna put the loop. This computes the number of days. You could use a for loop, or we could just all right, I'm gonna go while oh no, I'm gonna start up by saying charge date, that's charge date, battery charge. Charge, oh, I gotta do a date time. Date time, charge. Hello, hello, hello. Looks like it's working properly to me. Okay, so I've got this nice is date time thing. What do I do now with it? Uncomment and add code to check. Oh, check to see if the arrival dates and the departure dates are valid. So let's see. I don't think this code actually. Oh, I know what this code is. It's got this is valid data on the very beginning. I think so. Okay, so we're gonna do that uncomment within range, and then uncomment is valid data, and use those two. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this is date time. Well, let's see, I might as well use two. So, okay, so it's is valid data. I'll use this is valid data. I'll activate this this commented thing here. And is valid data is going to if is date time parentheses txt arrival date comma arrival date. If that's true, no, I can just do this. I'll do this. If that's true and is date parentheses text departure date comma departure date. Arrival date, and that's true, then return true. Else, oh, down here, I'll just return false. Okay. So now is valid data, and then we got to use it. Why is that squiggly? If is valid data. Okay, there's that, and then I'm going to put this inside. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's first going to check. First, it's going to execute this is valid data, and what is valid data does is it checks to see that the arrival date is a valid date, and it checks to see if the departure date is a valid date. Now, why is this squiggly? Not all code paths. Oh, not all code paths return a value. Ah, yes. Okay, I have to return a value. Well, I'll just return false. All right. Now it's no more squiggly. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so I'm going to say October. No, I'm going to say September. Well, first of all, I'll say September 17th. That works. Now, how about September 30th? How about September 31st? Arrival date is not a valid date. All right, that's fine. How about October 32nd? Departure date is not a valid date. Okay, great. So that seems to be working. Okay, so I've done the is date time. Now I got to do within the within range. Okay, so where's that one? Here we go, within range. Add code to check to the arrival and departure dates are within a range that includes the minimum and the maximum dates that are passed to it. Oh, all right. So all this is you're going to be able to pass in like it's got to be between October. What's today? Today's the 7th. It's got to be between October 20th and October 20th, 2019 and October 20th, 2020 or something like that. So you can put in some sort of range dates like that. And then and see how is this thing used anyway? It's used in is valid data. Where's is valid data? Uses a ranges of 5 years. Between today and 5 years from now, that's how it uses it. So let's just try to write this. And so I'm going to do if okay, let's get so within okay text box. Okay, so a text box is going to come in, and we want to make sure that the date that's in the text box is within it's greater than or equal to min and less than or equal to max. So first of all, let's declare a date, date time, and I'm going to call it test date again, and that's going to equal to converting, and we're going to assume that it's already a date because it was checked earlier, so we're going to assume this will for sure work. Text box text. Okay, so that is, so this is a text box. So you pass in a text box, you pass in what the text box is called, like arrival date or departure date, and then you have to pass in a minimum date and a maximum date, an earliest date and a latest date. So so we're going to take this date that's in the text box, and we're going to test if this date is if it's less than min, then we want to say message box show name plus means arrival date must be after I'm going to actually put in the date plus min dot to show what are the to show too short date string. How's that? Okay, comma error. Okay, so that is going to display out an error that says arrival date must be after that date. Okay, so that's fine. And then we will might as well put the text put the focus on that text box focus. Okay, and then we want to return false. Okay, so that's true. Okay. If test date, I gotta put parentheses. If test date is greater than max, then we want to say message box show name plus must be before plus max dot to short date string, comma error. All right, and then we want to put the focus back on that, and we want to return false. Okay. If it makes it all the way to here, then we know it passed both tests, and we can return true. And this is within range. Why is this no longer squiggly? Oh, it's because is date time, so is present. Okay, so is valid data then should now check. Oh, first we should check if it's present. So if is present, parentheses, text, txt, arrival date, comma, arrival date, and is present txt departure date, both of those are true. Then we can do this. We can do this inside here. First test if it's present. If it's present, then it tests if it's if they're actually dates and times. And if they're actually dates and times, then we should check to see if it's in range, is within range. So then we need to do, let's do this. If is within range, txt arrival date, comma arrival date, in range, and is within range, parentheses, txt departure date, comma departure date, then return true. Else why is this? Oh, I got to do a min and a max. That's right. So min, oops, date time, min equals today, and date time max equals min add years 5. Is that right? Okay, there. Now it's within range, min, max, min, max. Else message box. I guess, do I need to do one of these for each one? I'm just going to say, I'm not sure I need to do anything here. I just think I just need to return false. On this one, I'll just return false. Oh, and I don't even need else, do I? I can just say return false. And here I can just say return false. And, okay. Return false, return false, return false. This might work. So if I do 2029, departure date must be before October 17th, 2024. Okay. Departure date is a required field. All right, well, anyway, did I get almost everything here? Let's see. And it's the end of the class. Okay, anyway, that looks pretty good. So what I'd like to do, so what you do is you save all, and you close. You can close this, exit the solution. And what I'd like you to submit is, let me log in as a student here. So we're doing this one, and we're doing like assignments, and we did this one, assignment 14, and I'd like you to submit. Okay, okay, so let's go in here and see. I want you to submit. Oh, I wanted to just submit a screenshot, so let me just do a screenshot. Start. And I think this is actually fine, just doing the default there, and you can do a screenshot. That's snipping tool. Snipping new, and just go ahead and snip this thing like this somehow. Okay, and then you get a, I'm going to save that as, I'll just save it on my desktop. And it's going to be calculate reservations, PNG. All right, so now I've got that. So now, and I can close this. So, so I want to attach the screenshot, which is this, the screenshot. I want you to attach, go down into reservations, go down here. I want you to attach, this is the .cs file that's got all the event handlers in it. I want you to go down and also attach the form designer.cs so I can see where all your controls are on your form. And then finally, you need to take this, okay, not this one, this is the old one. Take your finished thing here and zip it up. And there it is, and attach that. Browse the this one that I just zipped up. So that's the 4 things. Screenshot of program running, the event handlers, the designer.cs code, and the zipped project. So that's what I want you to submit. Okay? And just in case you didn't realize this designer.cs thing, if you look at that, that tells me a bunch of stuff about the form. Okay? This gives me all of the controls that are on there. It lets me go down and see if the calculate button, is, or the enter key will make the calculate button. If the escape key will make it go exit, and that kind of stuff. All right, so that should be it. I hope that helps. I only got through one assignment, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do about the one that was here for today. I might just make a separate tape video for that because I don't want to get behind. All right, is there any questions? Okay, thanks for watching.